In a world that constantly changes, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by forces beyond our control. The Stoic philosophers, however, had a powerful tool for navigating life's uncertainties: the dichotomy of control. At its core, the dichotomy of control is about recognizing what is truly within your power and what isn't. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic minds, practiced this principle daily, choosing to focus only on what he could control: his thoughts, his actions, and his responses. The Stoics divided life into two categories: things within our control, our mind, our choices, our behavior, and things beyond our control, other people's actions, the future, external events. By focusing on what we can control, we not only reduce stress, but gain the freedom to live with clarity and purpose, regardless of external circumstances. This principle isn't about passivity or resignation. It's about power. It's about recognizing that you can't control everything in life, but you can control how you engage with it. Once you understand this, the pressure to manage the uncontrollable starts to fade. In the coming parts of this video, we'll break down how focusing on what you can control leads to greater emotional resilience and peace. Because when you focus on the right things, you unlock your potential to thrive. One of the greatest challenges we face in life is knowing what to focus on. So much of our energy is spent on things we can't control: other people's actions, the weather, the future, and this often leads to frustration, stress, and burnout. The Stoics, however, had a simple rule: focus only on what you can control. What is within your control? Your thoughts, how you interpret situations, how you choose to respond to events. Your actions, what you do each day, how you treat others, the habits you cultivate. Your attitude, how you approach life, the emotions you allow to dominate your mind. What isn't within your control? Other people's behavior. You can't control what others say, do, or think, but you can control how you respond to them. External events, natural disasters, global events, accidents, these are beyond your control. Outcomes. You can put in your best effort, but you can't guarantee results. The wisdom of the Stoics teaches us that peace comes from accepting the limits of our control. When we stop wasting energy on things we can't change, we free ourselves from unnecessary stress. This shift in focus allows us to invest our energy in areas where we can make a difference, within our own actions, thoughts, and responses. Once you understand this, you can start living more peacefully, knowing where your power truly lies. One of the hardest things to accept in life is that we can't control the outcomes. We can control our effort, our actions, and our intentions, but the result, whether it's in a career, a relationship, or any endeavor, is often outside our grasp. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. In meditations, he often reminded himself not to attach his happiness to the results of his actions. Instead, he focused on the quality of his effort, knowing that he could control how he worked, but not always the outcome. By letting go of the need to control outcomes, we free ourselves from disappointment, anxiety, and frustration. The more we cling to results, the more we suffer when things don't go as planned. Stoicism teaches us that true peace comes when we focus solely on the process and release our attachment to the end result. So how do you let go of outcomes? Shift your focus. Concentrate on what you can control: your effort, your mindset, and your approach. Set goals, not expectations. Work toward objectives, but don't demand specific results. Practice acceptance. Understand that not everything will go according to plan, and that's okay. Embrace the journey, enjoy the process, knowing that it's where your growth happens. By letting go of what you can't control, you reclaim your peace of mind and allow life to unfold naturally without the weight of unnecessary expectations. Stress and anxiety are often rooted in our attempts to control the uncontrollable. Whether it's worrying about what others think, fearing the unknown, or trying to control future outcomes, these pressures come from a place of attachment to things outside our control. The Stoics had a different approach. They believed that the key to overcoming stress and anxiety was to focus only on what's within our control, our thoughts, our actions, and our responses. By redirecting our energy from the external to the internal, we take back power over our own peace of mind. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote about calming his mind in the face of stress. When you are troubled by an external event, remind yourself that you are not troubled by the event itself, but by your own judgment of it. The stress you feel isn't caused by the event. It's caused by how you choose to interpret it. Here's how you can apply the Stoic approach to stress and anxiety. Shift your perspective. Instead of focusing on the problem, focus on how you can respond to it. Detach from the outcome. Release the need to control everything and trust the process. Practice mindfulness. Stay present in the moment, rather than spiraling into fear about the future. Reframe your thoughts. Challenge negative thinking and choose to see challenges as opportunities for growth. By adopting this mindset, you can reduce anxiety and find peace, even in the midst of uncertainty. The dichotomy of control isn't just a philosophical concept. It's a tool you can apply in every area of your life. By focusing on what you can control and letting go of the rest, you free yourself from unnecessary stress and start living with greater peace and intention. Let's look at how this principle applies to three key areas: work, relationships, and health. Work. At work, you can't control everything. The actions of your colleagues, office politics, or even the company's future. But you can control your effort, your professionalism, and how you react to challenges. Focus on doing your best each day, rather than obsessing over promotions or outcomes. By letting go of attachment to the result, you reduce work-related stress. Relationships. In relationships, we often try to control how others behave or how they respond to us. But the only thing within your control is your own behavior. You can choose kindness, patience, and open communication, but you can't dictate how others will act. The Stoic approach teaches us to accept that others have their own minds and that we are responsible only for our own actions and reactions. Health. Health is another area where we often struggle with control. You can't control everything about your body, genetics, aging, or unforeseen illnesses, but you can control how you take care of it through exercise, diet, rest, and stress management. Focusing on what you can do to improve your health helps you let go of anxiety about the things you can't control. By applying the dichotomy of control to these areas, you empower yourself to focus on actions that truly matter. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers and the Roman emperor, understood that the most powerful form of control wasn't over external events. It was over his own mind and actions. He faced immense challenges, from political strife to personal loss, yet he found peace by focusing only on what he could control: his thoughts, his reactions, and his decisions. In his Meditations, Marcus repeatedly reminded himself that external events are not within his power, but his responses always were. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This central Stoic message was a guiding principle throughout his life. He knew that by accepting the things he couldn't control, he could focus all his energy on what mattered most, his own virtue and inner peace. Marcus also recognized that trying to control everything would only lead to frustration and burnout. He practiced releasing his attachment to outcomes, focusing instead on the quality of his effort and maintaining his composure regardless of circumstances. This gave him a sense of freedom and emotional resilience in a world that was anything but predictable. The key takeaway from Marcus' approach: accept what you cannot control and focus all your energy on controlling how you respond. By doing so, you can navigate life's challenges with clarity, strength, and grace. The more we focus on things outside our control, the more restless we become. But when we redirect our attention to what we can control, our own responses, thoughts, and actions, we experience a profound sense of inner peace. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. By practicing the dichotomy of control, he found peace not by avoiding challenges, but by changing how he engaged with them. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In other words, true peace comes from within, and it's available to us at all times if we choose to focus on what we can influence. When we let go of the need to control external outcomes, we stop chasing the uncontrollable. This shift in focus eliminates anxiety about the future, frustration with others, and stress about things that are beyond our power. Instead, we center ourselves on what we can manage: our actions, reactions, and mindset. As we embrace this Stoic practice, peace gradually becomes more accessible. We stop fighting reality and start accepting it. This doesn't mean passivity or resignation. It means accepting that life will unfold with or without our input, but how we respond is entirely up to us. By focusing on the controllable, we open ourselves to a life of clarity, emotional stability, and greater peace. One of the most powerful tools the Stoics used to maintain control over their lives was inner reflection. Marcus Aurelius didn't wait for external events to teach him resilience. He cultivated it daily through deep, introspective thought. In his meditations, Marcus often took time to reflect on his actions, emotions, and decisions. This wasn't about self-criticism, but about understanding his own mind and motivations. He asked himself, "Did I live according to my principles today? Did I allow my judgments to be clouded by emotions or external circumstances?" Through this practice of reflection, Marcus built self-mastery, the ability to govern his own thoughts and responses, no matter what life threw at him. This constant self-awareness gave him the power to choose his actions deliberately, based on reason, rather than reacting impulsively to external events. Inner reflection is more than just a mental exercise. It's a way of aligning your actions with your values. When you consistently reflect on your choices, you become more aware of what's in your control and what isn't. You learn to identify patterns, distractions, and automatic reactions so you can respond more mindfully. Self-mastery isn't about suppressing emotions. It's about understanding and guiding them. Through reflection, you can build the emotional resilience to stay steady, focused, and calm, no matter what's happening around you. Emotional resilience is the ability to withstand and recover from stress, adversity, or uncertainty. For the Stoics, building emotional resilience wasn't about avoiding hardship. It was about training the mind to focus on what can be controlled. Marcus Aurelius exemplified this in his writings. He didn't expect life to be easy, nor did he run from discomfort. Instead, he practiced resilience by focusing on his reactions and his mindset. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." When life presents challenges, the Stoic response is not to panic, get frustrated, or try to control everything around us. Instead, it's to focus on our own responses. By doing so, we build emotional strength, much like lifting weights for the mind. Each time you choose to respond with calm and clarity, you reinforce your emotional resilience. This practice can be applied in every aspect of life. In relationships, instead of reacting emotionally to someone else's behavior, focus on your own response. In work, when facing stress or setbacks, focus on controlling what you can, your effort, attitude, and time management. In personal challenges, focus on cultivating inner peace through mindfulness and acceptance. By consistently practicing this focus on what's within your control, you gradually become more resilient, no matter what external challenges arise. The Dichotomy of Control teaches us that freedom comes from focusing on what we can control, our thoughts, reactions, and actions, while accepting that much of life is beyond our grasp. It's a practice that builds not only peace of mind, but also resilience, clarity, and strength. By applying this principle, you stop fighting with reality and start working with it. You stop stressing about things outside your control and instead invest your energy where it matters most, in your response to life's challenges. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." The true Stoic finds power in acceptance, not in passivity, but in the strength to focus only on what he can influence. This mindset frees us from unnecessary anxiety, allowing us to live with greater purpose, peace, and effectiveness. So, take a moment today to reflect. What is beyond your control that you've been stressing over? How can you refocus on what you can control right now? Subscribe for more Stoic wisdom and share this video with someone who could benefit from focusing on what they can control. The path to lasting peace begins with this simple yet profound realization.